On today's video, I'm going to show you how I can text hands-free on the Rivian. Check it out.
What do you want to say to Birdie?
Kids want only broccoli for dinner tonight.
Ice cream.
Broccoli.
Ice cream.
Broccoli.
Ice cream.
Done.
Dang it. All right, so there are a couple of things to talk about here. There's this screen here for the Apple CarPlay here in the middle of the dashboard, and on the left side of the steering wheel is this phone mount. Let's talk about the phone mount really quickly first. It's a really beautiful device. The installation is actually pretty straightforward. It snakes the wire through the dashboard. It's non-destructive installation. The same is true for the CarPlay install. With the phone mount here, you also have this charger cord that runs into it, and you pop your phone on. It connects on, if you have an iPhone, it connects on with the MagSafe, and you can charge there. It's great. I love that it's on the left side of the steering wheel. It gives me a little bit more space to see the phone. I did have one on the right side previously. It wasn't quite placed as well as I wanted it to because of where the information screen here, this Rivian screen ends and the steering wheel begins. There's very little room there, so you can't really see directly to the screen. You kind of can, but anyway, I like the mounting position on the left better. Now let's talk a little bit about the Apple CarPlay screen, but first I want to give some background. Yes, there's a little bit of a rift in the Rivian and the Tesla world. Rivian and Tesla both have decided not to support Apple CarPlay. Now that is a strategic decision, and honestly, I understand it. The point is that they want to make software within their own interface that is good enough to where you don't need to go to a third party like Apple to have software. However, there are a couple of things that they don't do yet, and I'm not sure that they ever will, and that's where the Apple CarPlay Edition actually comes into play, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But I do want to say, first of all, both the Tesla and the Rivian interfaces are very good, and they do have almost everything you need, but there are a couple of things that I'll mention here that I think make it worth having a second screen to run the Apple CarPlay. Now, possibly in the future, they will be too redundant, and so it won't matter, but for now, there are a couple of reasons. Just want to talk about 5 or so of the things that I like about this particular device and that you might consider in your decision. Number 5 is, I like having a clock right here. I know it's silly, but it's a little closer to my field of vision, and I don't love the fact that I have to look clear across the dashboard to see a clock over there. I know it's silly, probably not worth it just for that, but at least it's something that's important to me. And number 4, I like having multiple views at once. So for example, if you're using on the native app here, if you're using the maps and you want to switch over, well, you have to switch over and it covers up the map. Well, if you're using the map up here, you can leave it running while you switch over and do whatever you need down here in the info screen. It's just a nice little additional feature, just having that extra real estate. Number 3, I want to talk about having alternate apps here on the Apple CarPlay interface. So as you know, Apple CarPlay will support more apps than Rivian and Tesla natively don't support, like SiriusXM, for example, or other apps like Overcast, which is something I use for my podcasts all the time, some audiobook apps like Libby through my local library, and so on. And that actually leads me to my number 2, which is the additional mapping apps, which are really important. A lot of people like to use Waze for specific reasons. It's got its own feature set that's really nice. I like to use this when I'm doing off-road driving, this OnX off-road mapping. Yes, I can do it on my phone, but it's so much nicer to be able to have it here on the screen. And as you can see, it'll do like breadcrumb trails of where I've driven, so that's nice for an off-road. Doesn't matter so much on the road, but it's nice when you're off-road in case you have to backtrack. So before I get to my number 1, I want to talk about my one alternate, the ability to be able to speak to the screen and still be able to drive, have my hands on the wheel. For example, if I'm here in Google Maps, I can click on the search, click on this microphone, 300 California Street. And it finds the route. Now on the Rivian native app, if I want to speak a direction, I can't. I have to actually physically type it in, which is a little safety hazard for when I'm driving. I don't like having to type things. I'd love to be able to just hit a microphone and speak. So I can do that with this little device, which is really great. But by far, and the main reason that I wanted to get this particular device and try it out in the first place, is being able to text message hands-free. It's really, really useful. I send text all the time. That's my primary mode of communicating with my family and friends and with others. So I like to be able to send text without having to go through, without having to actually pick up my phone. So doing hands-free text, really important to me. And by the way, it works pretty well. I just tap on a device here.
Ben said also switch on the front door lights. 2 switched right next to front door. Thanks so much, Scott. Would you like to reply?
Yes.
What do you want to say to Ben?
No problem, Ben. Happy to help, period.
It says, no problem, Ben. Happy to help. Send it.
Send it.
Done.
And there you go. I send a text without ever looking at my phone. I only had to glance over to tap on his name to be able to send a message or to hear messages coming in. When a message comes in, it'll alert, it'll announce it on the screen so I can hear it, and I can just say, I can just tap to reply. That's a really useful feature, to be able to send text back and forth hands-free. So there you go. There are my thoughts about the Apple CarPlay screen and about the iPhone mount here on the left side of the steering wheel. I like them both, recommend them both. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Please subscribe, and I guess we will see you in the next video.